something. It's a little bit difficult playing drums for about 45 minutes and then coming immediately up here. I probably stink a little bit, so I hope none of y'all are close enough to smell me. We're doing this series called Running on Empty. It's about dealing with burnout, and it's about, Todd's talked about how you get irritable when you run so low on what it is that keeps you going. You start to get irritable, you threaten to kill your wife with a soldering iron, I think it was. Just all kinds of stuff, but there's something that it made me think of, first of all, that I wanted to bring up. Running on empty, this is biblical, I think. I absolutely despise stopping to get gas. Does anybody else understand that? So what I'm bad about doing is my truck, you have the thing on the dash that shows you how many miles you have to empty. I get in trouble all the time by my wife, Rebecca. We'll be headed somewhere like to, Tyler, Dallas, whatever, and I'll leave and I kind of keep it on the down low that I only have about 50 miles to go before, empty, because I hate to stop. I don't want to stop. If I can do anything other than stop for gas, I'll do it. And I don't think about it. It happens every time. We'll get almost there, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? The bell's already gone off a couple of times, telling me you need to stop right now. Look down, we have about 10 miles to go. So I always look over at her, and she knows. She knows immediately what it is. She does the money, so I hate to ever have to tell her we have to get gas, but I really hate it whenever we're so low that we're going to have to put in a lot more money in order not to be back in that same situation that same day. And so we always go into that situation, and we'll have to, rush to the gas station and pull over and put in twice as much as we were going to. And it's just not fun for anybody. It's not fun because I get in trouble. It's not fun for her because she gets frustrated with it, and I continuously do it. But I hate stopping. I don't want to stop for gas ever. I hate it. I know you're not supposed to say hate in church, but I truly feel that way about stopping. But the only thing that I hate worse than stopping for gas is being out of gas. You can ask her. It makes me irritable. It makes me feel like I'm broke, like I'm poor. I don't know why. I have no idea. But it makes me just hate the world whenever I have 10 miles to empty. It makes me feel like I'm a failure. I don't know. I'm a freak, I guess. I don't know. But when you have a full tank of gas, there's something magical, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Maybe not. Y'all just make me feel better. There's something really great about having a full tank of gas. I always tell her that, if we have a full tank of gas, if something crazy like zombies come, we can just take off. We don't need money. All we need is that gas. But put ourselves back, on the road to wherever we're going, and we have to rush over there, and it's not fun for anybody. But if I had just stopped, to put gas in there before we left, it would have been, wouldn't have cost us as much money. It wouldn't have caused this fight. We never fight unless it's about that. But it just would have been better if I had just stopped. And the thing about this is I was thinking about it, and it's kind of a perfect illustration for the way that I do life, and I think a lot of y'all are probably like me. First off, I want to say that this is probably obvious, but I believe in God. Does everybody believe in God? I believe that God's here with us, and I believe that He actually sustains us, and He's really here, like real, not like up there and wherever else you may think He is, but He's here with us. And so He gives us the fuel that we need to get through, whatever we're going through, do whatever we're doing. But I was thinking that sounds a little bit cliche when you talk about God giving us fuel or God sustaining us or whatever, however you want to say it. So I was thinking, well, how exactly does God sustain us? What is that fuel? And I think the fuel is this thing called hope. Have y'all ever said that? And the thing about hope is it's kind of hard to describe because it's not really, it's not like I hope this happens or I hope, that's just like, I don't know, maybe it will, maybe it won't. Hope is that feeling that you're in a situation or you're, just living your life or whatever, and nothing just seems to be going right, but somehow that everything's going to turn out the way it's supposed to. You don't know when, and you don't know what all you're going to have to go through, but hope is what lets you know that you're going to be okay. I don't know if any of y'all have ever had to make a big decision, or if you you got a job opportunity, or you're going to move, or whatever it is, start a business. Again, we don't like stopping, of course, I don't. And so what we tend to do is we think, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this new job. I'm going to move to this new city. And I'm the kind of person that I have a real analytical personality, but I'm also like the most impatient person in the world. So I'll think real hard about it for like 30 minutes. And then I'm in. Okay, let's do it. And so we take off to go start this whole thing. But what we don't realize is that sometimes you have about 50 miles worth of hope in your tank. You know, you don't stop before you go on this journey. So you don't have a whole lot of fuel. But you have just enough to think that you can get where you're going. So you take off, and of course when you start off on this new journey, everything's magical. Like, nobody can tell me anything. I know, you know, I've said it a million times, well, I heard from God, so I'm good. Let's just go. I don't want to listen to my parents. I don't want to listen to, you know, Todd, whoever. Just want to go. But the bad part is, life doesn't stop whenever you're on this magical journey. Life doesn't sometimes care about your magical journey. And so things keep happening, right? And it starts to wear you down a little bit. It starts to beat on you. And so a month down the line, you're like, okay, you know, this is how it's really going to be. It's not that magical feeling, but I can handle this. I can do it. So you keep going. You keep, you know, trying to press forward with whatever it is that you're doing. But then a couple of months down the road, the newness is completely gone. The shininess is dull. And you're just thinking to yourself, I just want to quit. I don't even care about this anymore. I don't want to do it. Nobody would benefit from me doing this anyway, because I'm horrible. I don't need to be around anybody new. And you realize you have about 10 miles left to go of hope in your tank before you're empty. But we don't think about it the same way as gas. Like, when we get down to 10 miles of gas, you know, you just rush to the gas station, get your wife mad at you, pay a bunch of money, put some gas in the tank, but we can't do that. What we tend to do, I think there's two kinds of people. You got 10 miles to go, so some people will just pull over, put it in park, and just kill the switch and just throw your hands up. You know, obviously I was wrong. I didn't hear anything from God. My dream was it's probably just me, just being silly. Or the other kind of person, this is kind of where I fall. You get out of the car, you put it in drive, you get out, open the hood, I'm going to fix this. So you start looking at everything, you start looking under. You get busier. You just stay as busy as you can because you want to figure out what the problem is. But the real problem is, we just talked about how God gives you hope. So where is God? Why hasn't he shown up already? If you were going through something like that, has everybody in here been hopeless at some point? I think so. What if God would have just showed up and said, hey, here's where you're going. You're good. Just keep pressing forward. Would that not encourage you? Would that not give you that fuel? Right? So why doesn't that happen? Why doesn't God come down in a burning bush? Or have y'all ever seen Bruce Almighty? Jim Carrey? He's looking for a sign, and he's screaming at God, give me a sign, and he ends up getting behind this truck that's full of like yield signs and stop and don't go, wrong way. Just gets mad and pulls around him. And anyway, that's just funny. That doesn't have nothing to do with it. But we're looking for a sign. We need God to show up. All it would take is just one little encounter with God, and we'd be fine. Where is God? Where is he? We just said he was here with us, and he gives us hope, but where is he? There's a story that I think goes along with this pretty well. There's this guy in the Old Testament named Elijah. Y'all probably heard of him. There's a lot of stories about him. He was a prophet. This one particular time, he had just killed some prophets that Israel had a kind of a corrupt king and queen, at the time, and they had their false gods, and people worshiped them. And Elijah kills some of their prophets. So that's not a good thing to do, to the boss's people. So he kills them, and the king tells his wife Jezebel that, what Elijah did, and she sends him a message. It says in the Bible she sends him a message. I don't know if it was a text or email, what it was. She sends him a message and says, I'm going to kill you, just like you killed these people. So he gets afraid, he's running. Well, he goes and he hides in the wilderness so they can't find him. And he's kind of angry at God. He's kind of, looking for God, kind of like we were just talking about. He's kind of like, if you just show up right now, maybe I would know that I'm on the right track, because I've been doing everything that you told me to do. And not only have they killed the other prophets in Israel, but now they're coming after me. They're going to try to kill me for doing what you told me to do. So where are you? What are you going to do to fix this? And so God finally says, Elijah, I want you to go up on that mountain, which I have to pause. How do you just go up on a mountain? It's like go stand on that. He would have to wait 3 or 4 days for me to get up there. But he goes and he stands on the mountain. And as he stood there, the Lord passed by and a mighty windstorm hit the mountain. And so Elijah's thinking, okay, finally, God's here. He's going to do something. But it says the windstorm passed and God wasn't in the windstorm. This is 1 Kings 19:11, if y'all want to read along. It says the Lord wasn't in the windstorm. And after the wind, there was an earthquake. But the Lord wasn't in the earthquake either. He keeps thinking, okay, this is God showing up, finally. After the earthquake, there was a fire, and guess what? God wasn't in the fire either. But after the fire passed, and the windstorm and the earthquake, there was a whisper. Just a soft whisper. So Elijah got his encounter with God, but it wasn't what he was looking for. It wasn't in the crazy windstorm. It wasn't in the earthquake, and it wasn't in the fire. It was in a whisper. But there's a problem with that, because you know what a whisper sounds like? It's real soft and kind of gentle. You have to listen to be able to hear it. Right? You got to kind of lean in to hear it. And so take that and put it in our situation, where we're over on the side of the road complaining and throwing our hands up and whining and just running around like crazy. How are you ever going to hear the whisper? How are you ever going to be able to? The reason that we don't hear it is because we're drowning it out. And we don't think to stop. The last thing we want to do is stop. So how are you supposed to hear that whisper? Well, what I've found is that for me, it's mainly just about shutting up. I have to sometimes just go in the room. Last night, some of y'all were here for the volunteer meeting. I had a heck of a night last night. My 3-year-old son, took a nap at about 6 o'clock p.m. and slept until about 7:30. So, of course, he was up until midnight. And I didn't have anything to get ready for today, so it was okay. No. Well, he starts crying when I take away his little video game and wakes up our 9-month-old at midnight. I wish I could describe how awful this actually was, because at that point, my wife comes in there. She was in the shower or something. Both boys are awake, and she has no idea why. She probably just thought I went in there and shook them. It was crazy. And I was sitting there making my notes for this message. And what am I doing? Just trying to fix it, just trying to calm them all down, just trying to be doing whatever I can to fix this situation. And I thought, maybe I should pay attention to what I'm writing right now, literally at the same moment on this computer. And so I put on some music, and I just prayed, God, please save me from this hell. No, I didn't say that. But I prayed, God, I need you right now. Maybe this is a message, maybe this is a good story for me to tell tomorrow, which it turned out to be. It's great. So put on some music, and I just turned out all the lights, and I just picked Sam up, and he was just kicking and screaming, and he'd probably be cussing me out if he knew words. He was just mad because I took his game away. I'm mad at him because he won't go to sleep, and I need to get done and go to sleep. Jack's in there awake, screaming and crying because Sam's screaming and crying. So Becca's in there stressed out. I said, God, just please show up. And he said, dude, what are you doing? What are you talking about? You want me to show up? You need to shut up. You need to just listen. God's mean sometimes. And so what I did is I turned the music on and I just picked Sam up. And he just is quiet. He just lays his head down on my shoulder. 5 minutes later, he's asleep. Jack's asleep. Everything's peaceful. But what I had to do is absolutely go against my nature and just shut up and stop trying to figure everything out. Does anybody watch Seinfeld? I know somebody does back there. George Costanza made bad decisions through the whole series. And what he found one time was that he needed to, okay, if my instinct tells me to do this, just do exactly the opposite. Don't even think about doing what you want to do, just do the opposite. And that's it for me. I got to go in a room and I got to just be quiet. I got to put on some music and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to do this for 15 minutes. Surely I can shut up for 15 minutes. And it's a lot harder than you would think it would be. But you got to do it. If you got something to say, then you can just wait. And God will speak to you. And I'm not saying he can't. I've never heard God speak audibly, but the whisper is something that just feels like, it's just the most amazing feeling in the world. It's this, the fog's lifted. You start to get clarity. You start to rationalize things that just didn't make sense or that were a stress point. Now they're something that can push you forward. Hope. He gives you hope. But we have to stop. That's the hardest part. Has anybody ever heard God's voice or what you would describe as God speaking to you? It can keep you going for a long time. It can, we talked about the gas and being able to run from the zombies if you need to, things like that. That's what that hope will do. If you have nothing else, but you have hope, you can do anything that you need to do. You can get as far as you need to go. But the thing is, has anybody ever been broke? I know I'm telling a lot of stories, but they're just popping. You know how you get gas when you're broke? You'll dig out all the change you have, and you go up there and you're like, all right, I need $8.37 on pump 3, please. When you haven't been hearing from God in a long time, that's the way it is. You have to get it in small doses because I don't think we can handle it. I don't think we could handle if God just filled us up all at once. So you're going to have to stop again. You can't wait until you're dead on the side of the road to stop every time. Because then you're never going to get anywhere. You're going to get almost to Tyler or almost to that new job or almost to that city you're moving to. And you're going to run out. You're going to run down to 10 miles to E again. And you're going to be right back in the same situation. You have to do this. I want to speak practically because for me that's it all sounds good, but I'm like, okay, Todd, tell me what I actually need to do. Here's my advice. If I haven't, and I know y'all are thinking I'm young. I've screwed up a lot. I promise you I'm on par with most of you in here. And what I've found is that you just have to, every day, it doesn't have to be the same time, nothing religious about it, whatever. Just stop. Just make a point to stop, literally to stop everything you're doing, stop talking, go in a setting that's good for you. For me, it's a dark room with some worship music playing. And just listen. Just let God have that opportunity. Because when we're running around the whole time, he doesn't have the chance to do what he needs to do. And I'm going to tell you this too, God's going to tell you things that you don't want to hear. I promise you. And not just the mean things like, dude, shut up and read. But I want you to go do this. And you're like, that's impossible. How in the world am I supposed to do that? That's so far out of my character. That's so far out of anything that I want to do or ever feel like I would do. But he's going to want you to do it. And it's up to you whether you choose to listen or not. But that's a whole nother thing. What we're talking about today, I just want to challenge you guys to take this next week. Just take 5 days, the work week, and say once per day, I'm going to stop and I'm going to go and just see if God does anything. See if he talks to me. Just go and put on some music and just stop talking. And I guarantee you that you'll get some hope. You may not get much. It may be like the $8.37 in gas. But he will speak to you. And it may be hard if you've never heard his voice before, but again, practically. I'm always looking for, okay, God, just come and say something to me. But it's not like that. You just feel a certain way. It's that hope feeling. It's that feeling like, okay, this is going to be all right. I'm going to be okay. The light at the end of the tunnel is really there. You know, it's hard to describe, but you'll know it. You can't mistake it. Anybody, you know, some of y'all said that you've heard God's voice before. You can't mistake it. So I just want to challenge y'all. 5 days. And next week, come and tell each other about your experiences, but also write it down. If God puts a thought in your head that you can put into words, write it down, or write down the feeling, write down whatever you can to describe what God's doing and what He's saying to you. It's the most awesome thing ever, and it'll keep you going. And maybe at some point, you don't have to get the $8.37 because you can start to fill up a little more and more, and you can do greater and greater things, and God will challenge you to, okay, you did this. Finally, you did the $8. You did something with that. So now I want to give you $20 gas, hope, and I want you to go do this. And it's going to grow you. And it's awesome, and it's terrifying, and it's hard to do, and you're going to screw up, and you're going to forget to stop, and you're going to get in fights over running out of gas on your way to Tyler, and your kids are going to stay up till midnight, but you have to stop. No matter what, if it doesn't seem to be working, stop again. You have to stop 25 times in one day. I don't know. But you got to stop. And right now, I just want to take a minute while they play this song and sing, let's just stop. Let's just take 5 minutes or whatever and just stop. Nothing weird, nothing, nothing religious, nothing crazy. We're not going to ask anybody to do anything, but let's just stop and listen and just see if God puts a little bit of fuel in our tank.
So let's just bow our heads right now. Just close our eyes and stop for just a moment. If everything comes down to love, well, then just what am I afraid of? When I call out your name, something inside awakes in my soul. How quickly I forget I am yours. I am not my own. I've been carried by you all my life. If everything rides on hope now, everything rides on faith somehow. When the world has broken me down, your love sets me free. And when my life is
it's not for me. Till the night I met that girl